It's that time of the month again, new VR game announcements. August has still some of the summer sluggishness going on, but towards the end of the month we are picking up the pace with the release of two of the most anticipated VR shooters of the year. Stay tuned for more on those. Last month we saw the release of the roguelike shooter Synapse by In Dreams that landed exclusive to the PSVR 2 on July 4th to a strong 77 on OpenCritic. Road to VR were a bit less impressed and gave the game a still good 65. Quote, Synapse gives players an incredible feeling of telekinetic power that's undeniably cool and fun, and also adapts some of the best mechanics from In Dreams' last game Frack. But Synapse follows a now familiar pattern for the developer, unique and well-built VR mechanics that are unfortunately paired with middling game design that lacks enemy, weapon, level and scenario variety. While the game asks players to beat a full run 3 times to reveal its full narrative, you'll have seen most of what the game has to offer not long after your first completion. As a roguelite, Synapse is missing that compelling feeling that makes you want to try new strategies as you play over and over. End quote. On July 13th, the throwback to the arcade days, Operation Wolf Returns first mission dropped on all VR platforms. The game managed to get a fair 70 on OpenCritic, but with most VR-centered media being less enthused than general game critics. That's a recurring theme, by the way, that VR games get better reviews from general games media than from VR publications. Upload VR awarded the game with the dreaded Avoid plague. Quote, Operation Wolf Returns first mission VR succeeds in administering a small dose of arcade nostalgia. However, it not only fails to reach the benchmark of modern VR shooters, but falls short of offering a compelling experience from the very first stage. The short, shallow campaign replicates the simple gameplay loop of an 80s arcade game, but forgets to add enough or anything to make it relevant to a modern VR audience. End quote. U-Boat, the Silent Wolf is a World War II submarine simulation. Take command of a German U-boat and take part in historic naval battles. The game will feature a complex combat system, historically accurate ship and aircraft models, an advanced submarine control system, and the atmosphere and challenges of living on a sub, claustrophobia included. You will receive missions from port, plot your course and prepare your ambush. To survive you need to check the condition of your vessel, make sure the engines and other components are running smoothly, remain vigilant and react quickly to breakdowns or damage. You can do all this solo or in up to 4-player co-op. The game is tagged as a role-playing game, but it is not readily apparent what that description entails. U-Boat, the Silent Wolf will release for the Quest 2 on August 3rd. It's a budget title for less than $20. A Steam version will come later, no date for that so far. VR Skater is, it's in the title. It's a VR skateboarding parkour game. You will ride your board and do tricks using your motion controllers, where your hand movements mimic the leg movements you would do in real life. That apparently works pretty well and creates a gameplay that lies somewhere between arcade and simulation. You will be able to skate through 7 different urban environments and the mega ramp. You will gain XP that you can then spend on modifications for your board. There will be medals and trophies to earn and leaderboards to climb. VR Skaters is available in Steam Early Access for over 2 years now with a very positive user rating. The game will release for the PSVR 2 on August 4th. It should also get its full release on Steam soon, but there's no date for that yet. The Early Access version is $20, the full version will probably be a bit more expensive, but no exact price is known so far.
Okay, you're in. Your objective is to get me into their servers so I can collect more intel. Access points located. Get me in so I can start the hack.
Firewall Ultra brings the fairly popular PSVR exclusive 0 Hour to Sony's new VR hardware. This is a 4v4 tactical shooter, somewhat similar to Rainbow Six Siege. Choose a contractor, each with a unique skill set, mix and match different weapons and loadouts, and go kill. The attacking team needs to decrypt the laptop, the defending team needs to prevent that from happening. Apart from straight up shooting the enemy, there's a wide variety of gadgets available like door blockers or proximity mines to help you reach your objective. The studio prides itself in implementing some cool eye tracking features. You can, for example, negate the effect of a flashbang by closing your eyes. Initially there was the announcement that the game will have no manual reload, which led to a lot of disappointed feedback, manual reload being something people expect from a VR shooter these days. As a response, First Contact Entertainment have announced an Ultra mode with manual reload, friendly fire enabled and without aim assist. Ultra mode will not be available on launch but will come at a later date. Next to the main PvP mode there will also be PvE content that you can play solo or in up to 4-player co-op. Firewall Ultra will release exclusive to the PSVR 2 on August 24th. The standard version will be $40. There will be a deluxe edition for $60 that will include early unlocks for 4 contractors and some skins, which implies you will need to unlock contractors through the game's progression system, and also that there will most likely be an in-game cash shop for cosmetics. And remember, it's PlayStation, so you need a PS Plus membership if you want to play online.
Are you ready?
Crossfire Sierra Squad is a new offering by Korean video game titan Smilegate Entertainment, bringing one of the biggest shooter franchises in the world to VR. In stark contrast to the main game, Sierra Squad is an arcadey PvE shooter. The single player only campaign will consist of 13 missions and will be a bit on the shorter side, about 4 hours long. Apart from that, there are about 50 missions available that you can play solo or co-op with a friend, and the 4-player co-op horde mode. Completing missions will grant you in-game currency that you can use to upgrade weapons in a fairly expansive progression system. The upgrades you can then use to tackle harder difficulties. There's a wide variety of 40 or so weapons available, 17 distinct enemies with advanced AI ranging from normal soldiers over tanks and helicopters to super soldiers. There will be an optional realistic mode which will largely remove the UI and reduce the sponginess of enemies, but also of yourself. Sierra Squad will also have no manual reload, not sure what's going on there with new VR shooters and the reload. Crossfire Sierra Squad will release on August 29th on Steam and the PSVR 2 for $30. It is unknown so far if there will be crossplay, and is also not known if the game will be monetized beyond the initial purchase price. Before we wrap it up, I want to mention 2 older games coming to the PSVR 2. First, there's The Room VR A Dark Matter, a puzzle game that initially released on Steam and the PSVR 1 in 2020 to an overwhelmingly positive reception. The series always had a very hands-on approach to puzzle design, where you need to fiddle with contraptions to make them work, a concept that translates very well to VR. The PSVR 2 version is out since July 27th for $30 or as a free update if you own the PS4 version. It's a rather short game, about 3 hours of playtime, keep that in mind if you consider a purchase. Then we have Phamophobia. This highly replayable co-op horror game released 3 years ago into Steam Early Access to an incredible success. The game got very popular on Twitch and managed to get a bit of a cult status. Phamophobia was always playable in VR or on a flat screen, but so far only on PC. In August, no exact date yet, it comes to console Early Access, to Xbox Series X and S and the PS5, including PSVR 2 support. There will be crossplay over all platforms, no matter if you play in VR or on a flat screen. Together with the console release comes a chunky Progression 2.0 update. There's no price announced so far for the console version. On Steam the game is like $12 or so. No word on a full release yet either. Oh, and Roblox is now available on the Quest 2 via the App Lab. The Steam version of the game is playable in VR for 7 years now. 7 years. There we go, that's it for August. It's possible that the third part of I Expect You to Die comes this month, but there's no officially confirmed release date, so I decided not to include it. I put it in the comments if we get more concrete information. There are still some exciting titles announced for later this year, so consider subscribing if you want to always stay up to date on new VR game releases. Finally, for you PCVR people out there, a VR mod for 7 Days to Die emerged recently that is pretty amazing. I'm doing a playthrough on this channel at the moment. It's a bit of new territory for me, as that is completely unscripted content. Usually I write a couple of pages of script before I start recording, but it's a lot of fun and people seem to like it, so if you want to see in what kind of trouble we can get in 7 Days to Die VR, feel free to give it a watch. Apart from that, see you in the next one.